Hey yo, my name is Sarah, and before getting into this book review, Solo Leveling is back for season 2. It started again early August, and I have been doing the reactions for each chapter on my other channel, Once Upon an Anime. So if y'all want to check those out, I'll leave the link down below. Oh my god, Jinwoo. The adventures we're about to get into, that's all I have to say. So if y'all want to check out the videos again, the link will be down in the description down below. But for now, let's get straight into this book review. And come on people, for those of you who have been with me for so long, y'all definitely know I would have been doing a review on this sooner or later. So today's book review is on The Jackal by J.R. Ward. First book in the Prison Camp series, 5th book in the Black Dagger Legacy series. Goodreads is so confusing on which category to put this on, but it says Prison Camp, so I'm going with Prison Camp. This, I believe, is a new book in another spin-off series that has to deal with the missing prison camp that, disappeared after the raids oh so long ago. And our main characters, we have Nyx, who is a female who found the prison camp entrance, and she is there to go rescue her sister that's been down there for 50 years. The odds are not in our favor. And we have, of course, the male named the Jackal, who's been down there for 100 years. So I'm like, times are rough. And this probably really isn't that much of a spoiler, but J.R. Ward kept saying the Jackal is about Rage's brother, so we're probably going to get some point of views from Rage. We really don't, but what we get are flashbacks that I am not supposed to feel these emotions, and yet I did. And let's just say my heart could not take it. This is a great expansion of the BDB world. We had the BDB series, we got the BDL series, and now we have the Prison Camp series. All I have to say is this world is so big. If J.R. Ward wanted to make another spin-off series with either reoccurring characters or brand new characters, I think she can do that, because again, this is a huge, enormous world. We got Caldwell, we got the camps, we have the old country, and I believe she mentioned in previous interviews about a colony. So I'm just saying, if she wanted to do another spin-off series, this is a good lead up to a new one, and I really enjoyed it. Even though it was so thin, my heart was on roller coasters and I could not handle it. Still a good read. I really enjoyed it. I like the characters. Again, if there's a sequel to this series, this brand new up and coming series, I am all for that. And that's as far as I can get into non-spoilers. The Jackal by J.R. Ward, first book in the Prison Camp series. 5 out of 5 stars. Bye, non-spoilers! Spoilers. So we start this book off like how you normally do. 2 vampire sisters, Nyx and Posey, driving along the highway at night with their groceries on their way home when they accidentally hit a young pre-trans vampire. He just kind of, ran out there, no warning whatsoever, and we find out he is actually an escapee of the prison camp. And we're like, oh no. And the thing is, Nyx wants to know where he came from, because she's been searching for entrances into the camps for the camp for years. And that's because her sister, Janelle, she was sent to the camp because of charges put against her of her killing a male of the Glamera. You know how that goes with the noble class. They can all die, except for the good ones. Except for the good ones I've met and deemed worthy. But yeah. But either way, she decides to go look for the entrance to go rescue her sister, because she believes those were, false charges. And at the same time, we get the point of view of the Jackal. He's been roaming around the tunnels of the prison camps, like a subterranean tunnel system. And he's been down there again for 100 years. So he's kind of got the layout of the, network system. And he has a couple friends. You've been in prison for, 100 years. You're bound to make some friends. And we were listening to this Duran Duran song, Hungry Like the Wolf. I think that's what the song was. And he's like telling his friend, you'll get in trouble with the command, who's like the warden of the prison camp, if they find you with that. And his friend's like, I don't care. And it's like, we were on page 8, people. We were on page 8. And J.R. Ward decides to drop this bombshell on us. What are you going to do when that tape breaks? The male with the alter ego shrugged. I have it now. That's all that matters. Wolfen were a tricky, dangerous subspecies, and that was true whether they were loose to roam the night up above or stuck down here in prison. But the command had a solution for keeping the male's other side in check, and it happened to be the same thing used for all prisoners. A heavy collar of steel was locked around the male's thick throat, preventing him from dematerializing or changing. Page 8. We have our first encounter with the Wolfen! Oh my god. This is page 8, and this is the beginning of the roller coaster, people, because I was like, you do this to us in a thin book, and it's like, I'm just, okay, chill, we still got more to go through, but again, page 8, she drops this on us, just wolfing casually. What this book does to toy with my emotions that I did not appreciate whatsoever is that, again, we get flashbacks through Rage's point of view, and we're back like at 1901 or so in Caldwell. So remember, this is back then when Rage was kind of a loose cannon, and he kind of hid his emotions, which we could see very much. And I have to think that J.R. Ward developed a full character outline, arc, and history to this one character, because if she wanted to, she could make a single book about him. But we see Darius, and this is the time where he decides he wants to build the mansion. That's all I'm gonna say on this part. But Rage gets injured, goes beast for a little bit, and because of Havers, he's bedridden, so he kind of watches as Darius decides to build the mansion. Okay, we need to move on before my feelings resurface again. Now, I was kind of sketchy about Nyx's grandfather, because after getting information from the pre-trans vampire, and she doesn't think he's going to survive because he was hit by a car, and Posey is very adamant that he is going to survive. Well, Nyx figures, you know, she got enough information, she's going to go see if she can find the entrance that this kid escaped through, and go get my sister. And she packs, you know, regular stuff, make sure we got enough flashlights, that's all I have to say, and batteries. Well, her grandfather, he's not very into emotions. He's just like, you know, calm, straightforward, get to the point kind of fellow. And he says, you're going for your sister, aren't you? And she's like, yes. Come to the barn. Okay. So they go to the barn that he makes these boats, like these beautiful gondola kind of boats. But underneath he has a secret lair. And Nyx never knew it was down there. And we get in there. I'm like, this lair kind of rivals some other males that I know that keep certain items in here. Nyx's grandfather, his lair, is filled with weapons. I'm like, oh, dude, what was in your past? What was in your past? And here he is giving these items to Nyx, and then he hands her a black dagger. Was this dude brother before retiring? Is this like a retired brother? That was like going through my mind. I was like, oh dear, I am suspicious of you. And my suspicions grew even higher because we find out that he was the one that turned Janelle in to the council. And first of all, Nyx is like furious that he would do this to his own granddaughter, and she keeps saying, she's very firm on this, that Janelle did not kill that male. And she like feels this sense of betrayal, saying like, you know, once I get back, I am taking Posey and we are never coming back. And all her grandfather has to say, you have 48 hours. So we get to the part where our main characters kind of, you know, collide, because Nyx does find the entrance, and at the same time she runs into a guard, which is awesome. But luckily Nyx has taken self-defense classes before, and they do get in a kerfuffle, and the guard, he accidentally gets shot and dies. Either way, Nyx does have a key to get into the prison, because, you know, you get the steel plate door and you need a little access card to get in. So okay, part 1 of the plan is successful. We found a way how to get in. At the same time, Jackal, he's been down there for 100 years, so he's not only memorized the outlay of the prison, but he's memorized the scheduling of the guards, the shift changes and all that stuff. So when he realizes this guy's not up for shift changing, where is he? He knows something's up, so he goes to investigate, and that's how Nyx and Jackal run into each other. Now, going back to the flashback, like I said, Rage is injured, and Darius wants to build the mansion, and Rage, it's like, yeah, Darius can build all the mansions he wants. It's never going to be filled with all these dreams that he imagines. So Darius is recommended a male to help build it, like get the blueprints going, get the crew, get the materials, and all that stuff. This guy is highly recommended that Darius should meet him. And because it's gonna be at Jabun's house, the noble male that's hosting Rage, because he can't go anywhere because of Haber's, doctor orders. Well, Rage and Darius meet Jackal. Their brothers are so close. The only thing they have in common are the kind of eye colors. But besides that, all Rage can say, "You look familiar. Have we met?" And Jackal's like, "Nah." And he later tells Rage he's just there to look for his father after promising his previous mama that he wouldn't do that on her deathbed, but he wouldn't have done that. Are you telling me that y'all slightly look similar? Y'all have the same eye color, but y'all like, we're strangers. We're cool. We'll just talk with each other. Either way, Jackal helps with everything that begins the foundation to the mansion. How everything comes back around. Back at the prison, Jackal makes an offer to Nyx to help her find her sister Janelle in return for some stuff. And Nyx is like headstrong. She's like, "No, I'll go do this on my own." And Jackal's like, "Fine, you go on ahead. You can either do it by yourself and die, or you can come with me and possibly survive." I will understand that people didn't like Nyx's personality because, she's headstrong, she's stubborn, she's a little naive, she wants things to go her way as long as she has control of her choices and believes she can handle the situation and the outcome afterwards. Now, this is a mindset, I tell you, of someone who has all of this pressure and responsibilities on their shoulders and everything in their mind telling them that you have to do this for the sake of the family kind of way. This is how someone would react. It would make sense for Nyx to be all these characteristics. Me, on my part, if I wanted to go rescue someone, I would have planned years, maybe 2 years in advance. Everything has to go according to plan. I would be cautious like hell. No, Nyx, she knows that she has a timeline. She's got to get in, get out, find her sister, and she just wants to be in control of the situation. So this is her way of thinking. If it was a different character, they probably have a different method of thinking, especially with all the background information that we've gotten in the short amount of time. So even though Nyx did make some choices that kind of irked me just a little bit, it's understandable to her personality and all, again, the responsibilities and the weight on her shoulders. So I was completely okay with that. And so was Jackal, because after a while she does agree to his terms after some renegotiating. And it's like, okay, sweet, let me go get my team and we can go see if we can find your sister. And that team revolves around Lucan, the wolfen, who meets Nyx in a very interesting way. But Nyx does hold her ground, and he's like, sweet, she's cool. Jackal, you got yourself a fine female. I'm just gonna go sit over there in the corner and reevaluate my life choices. Then we bring in the other members of this interesting team, where it's like, if this does continue on as a single series, we have potential candidates for future books, because we have Kane, the aristocrat that was very gentlemanlike, that I was very questionable as to why he was down here to begin with. We have Apex, the male that occasionally kills guards, just, out of boredom, and no one messes with him. And then we have Mayhem, the happy-go-lucky guy that if he teamed up with Rage, I can imagine all the headaches they would give V. So it's like, okay, I need the backstories of these characters, which we do eventually get later on in this book. And the suspicious why I had for Kane, I feel completely sorry that I judged this male so early on, but he is down there because he broke off an engagement to a Glimera female, and her father wasn't having it, so he had Kane's lover killed and framed him for the murder. So Kane's down there for life for something he did not do. I'm so sorry, baby. I am so sorry. I apologize sincerely. Apex, he just straight up admits, and I murdered an entire bloodline. Mayhem. I have to know. By any chance, did someone show non-Baka to JR War? Because this guy embodies all 4 characters in that anime. I'm like, let me show you. Nyx returned his smile and then glanced over at Mayhem, who, as it turned out, was sitting forward on his butt like he was holding his hand up and waiting to get called on in school. And you? She asked. I was bored, he announced with a kind of pride. There was another pause, and then the whole group leaned in toward the male like everyone was wondering if they'd heard right. I don't understand, Jack said. Mayhem shrugged. I didn't have anything I particularly wanted to do, and nowhere in particular I wanted to go. So I figured, what the hell, I'll hang in prison. There's another pause, just in case there's a punchline. When Mayhem merely smiled pleasantly, there was a lot of blinking around the pool, even from Apex the Whittler. Are you effing insane? Lucan said. Mayhem? I'm sorry, best boy goes to Sin that I must protect at all time because he's my cute little bunny. But you have your own category to yourself because, again, if you teamed up with Rage, all the headaches V would get. That's all I'm saying. Then we have Lucan, who, just by being a wolfen, was sent down to the prison camp just because he was different, and I am angry about that. Let us unleash all of our inner wolfen and kill the Glimera or whatever that remains that are still, jerks, douches, as I would say. We also find out why Jackal is down there, and it has to go back to these flashbacks that we're having, and it's because while in Jobin's house, there's this female that's trying to make the moves on Rage. He said no, so she went to the extreme and tried to, I guess, frame Rage for deflowering her so they could mate. I'm still a little fuzzy on the details, but either way, she accuses Jackal of taking away her honor, and since that's in Jobin's house, he exiles them from the house. So this is right after they finish the blueprints, the foundations for the mansion, and he gets accused, and Jackal's like, fine, I'm out. And he leaves, and that's the last that Rage and Darius ever saw of him, meaning they did not know he had false claims put against him by Jobin to be put in the prison. And then Nyx reveals that, her sister Janelle, she was working at this male's household, male died, and I guess evidence turned up that she was the one that killed him. And of course Kane gives us insight on how the Glimera works, trying to get landed money and all that stuff, and I guess Janelle just got caught in the crossfires. Well, they decide to take Nyx to the wall, which has all the inscriptions of names of prisoners that passed away. Hopefully Janelle's name is not on there, and of course the Fates are not listening just because the mission begins to fail. Mayhem and Lucan do a kerfuffle to get the guards' attentions. We go through the commands area, which is very well furnished. We have a questionable cage that has very nice furniture in there, even gets Nyx's suspicion. But we go to the wall. Janelle's name is up there. So that is the mission fail. We have guards that, cut off Jackal and Nyx, and he's like, put the gun to my head. And he's like, y'all can't hurt me, the command won't like that. And Nyx takes the opportunity to kill the guards. So we got guards down, we have a sister that's dead, and we're about to go into a lockdown. Things aren't going as planned. My plans are ruined. A little recap about how the prison system works is that all the prisoners wear a collar, and this is very Dead Man Wonderland like, because if they remove the collars, first of all, it'll explode. If they go outside, it will track them, and there's a beeping sound that lets them know, hey, you need to get a recharge, so they have to go or an area that's heavily guarded by guards to get the batteries swapped out. Simple enough, but Nyx points out that Jackal, who's now going by Jack because she nicknamed him Jack, such a mouthful, let's shorten it up. She notices that Jack doesn't have a collar. And she's like, what is keeping you here? and he's very evasive on this. It's like, why are you here too, dude, if you don't have a collar? With us knowing that Janelle is dead and the scheduling for guard shifts are off the hook and all that stuff, and we're on lockdown, the main thing now for Jack and the team is to get Nix out of here, because she doesn't belong here, and we know that the command is looking for the intruder, so that's not good. And we have to wait until all of these things happen, to where these trucks come into the prison, because apparently they work on stuff down there, you know, little workshops and everything. And the plan is to get Nix into one of these trucks so she can, like, you know, vomit out of here, because that's the only possible way for her to get out. Well, we know that the command has a thing for Jack because the guards won't hurt him. The command actually paid a personal visit to Jack in his cell, which was like, I don't like this. Well, again, here's the plan. Again, to get Nix out. So the group leaves their hiding spot. They escort her to the workshop areas so she can get close to the trucks, while Jack has to go a different way because he's not allowed to participate in these items or some other interactions with prisoners like this. He's just allowed to roam free, mind his own business, whatever, until the command summons him. So he has to go through the area where the command and their guards live and work and all that stuff, while Nix is being taken by Kane and the guys. So team is split apart. I don't like that whatsoever. And here is Jack. He is so close to meeting up with the team when the command sees him again, and they're like, my room is this way. Do I need to get the guards to escort you? And I'm like, I don't like this. At the same time, plans don't go well on our end because Kane has to reroute Nix because the guards are preventing entryway, and they have to blow something up to get the trucks to come in and out. And it's like, things aren't going as planned, people, especially for Jack, because he is with the command. He's not doing what the command wants him to do, and he has a gun, so they dart him. The command finds the gun. It's like, you dare bring a weapon into my place? And we find out, I was ready to fight this dude. Until they removed the hood and a flood of red hair flew out. The command is a female. Men, yes, understandable. Females, whole nother level. And we saw the fear that this female instilled into her guards, that I'm thinking, again, males, certain level of fear and intimidation, but females, when they unleash it, do not tread with. So this is not good, especially when the command smells Nix not on him, but she sees the bite marks. She's like, who did you service? And she gets so furious. And when we find out that Nix has been captured, as well as Kane, because that one chance to get on the trucks, the one moment we could see the trucks coming, the guards show up and handcuff them. I'm like, oh my god, we're dead, we're gonna die down here. Well, the command finds this out, and she's like, fine, I will go make that female pay and everything. And Jack can't do anything because he is tranked and tied down to a bed. My heart is pounding already. Seriously, I was like, oh my god. And then I was running around this house because Nix does see the command. The command meets Nix, and the command sends her guards away, removes the hood. I was like, I did not see this coming. Jared Ward, why would you do this to me? Why would you do this to me? Because the command is Janelle. I did not see this one coming. I swear to God, I did not see this coming, and neither did Nix, because we saw the name on the wall. But it's like a metaphor or something, because Janelle did say, yeah, Janelle did die. I am the command now. My heart. It's overloading. I just can't. And we also find out why Janelle is actually down here. She did kill the male. It's like, no, not under false, accusations or anything. No, she did kill the male because she was just tired of living that life. And before that night, we find out that the reason why Janelle's grandfather turned her in is like, before you know, a couple of nights before the old male died, he had called Janelle's grandfather, warning him, like, I'm kind of scared of your granddaughter. And the grandfather tried to talk to Janelle, and she's like, fine, I'll take care of it. But he knew something was, like, wrong. And it's like, that following night, you know, the male is dead. So the grandfather was kind of worried about his other granddaughter's safety, so he turned to her, and it's like, okay, I was kind of with Nyx on believing innocent until proven guilty, and I believe she was innocent, but no, Janelle was just a bad egg, and we can see why, because, hello, she took over the camp people, and the camp guards are afraid of her. So, like, again, males, they're kind of, you know, intimidating, like, at a certain level, but for females, when they got you, it's just, yeah, be afraid, be very afraid. And things just go downhill from here until we get a steep incline back upstairs, because Janelle, the command, wants Jack to suffer and have, you know, Nyx watch. And we have Kane, who's poorly beaten up. We have Apex, who tried to rescue Jack, but got captured in the process. And they found Mayhem, but it's like, where's Lucan? I hope he's okay. And we're all here getting ready to watch, you know, Jack suffer in front of Nyx. And they're arguing. And then all of a sudden, I was like, I did this. And I got the tears. I was like, no! In my mind. Because Kane, for that one split moment, to save his best friend and the female he promised, he swore he would protect for his best friend, he removes the collar. And the bomb goes off. And I'm like, Kane! I did not expect that to happen. Chaos ensues. I lose sight of Apex. Mayhem goes down. He's tied. He gets lost in the dust. I don't know what happened to him. Lucan's missing. The cave is falling in. The guards are dying. Janelle and Nyx, they were in a tussle for Nyx to survive, and they're off the podium. Jack is tied up. He's down for the count, but he's okay. Everything is just crazy. We have no clue what's going on. All we know is that the ceiling is starting to collapse because of the bomb explosion from the collar. Y'all really need to get those inspected, but it's just going crazy. All in all, Jack escapes. He grabs Nyx. They make a run for it. He has a hidden tunnel that's not part of the hidden caverns that he knows of. He built this one himself, saying that he planned to use this one day. And then Nyx is begging him to come up because, like, nothing is holding him here. He can run for it. But then he says, my young is down here. That was what the furnished room in the command area was for. That's the one thing he and the command Janelle swore that would never be harmed. His young, their child. I'm like, just leave me to die down here. I am overloaded. The system is overloading. Either way, he forces Nyx to go up. She makes it above ground. She's back on the outside. It's been a little bit over 48 hours, and her grandfather was there looking for her. He found her. He takes her back while Jack is down there in the tunnel system. Some prisoners and guards are dead. Janelle's a little bit off her rocker. And we have this weird critter thing down below that was always in a basket, very creepy, and it kills Janelle, and we have a moment with it. But either way, Jack is looking for his young's body because he believes that Janelle killed their child. He can't find it, and then he goes to the wall. He's like demanding, where is my child? It's like, oh my god, these roller coasters. And it doesn't end there, people. It doesn't end there. I am losing breath because Nyx does get back home. Posey is there. She's very concerned about her sister, as one would be after, you know, finding out that she's been gone for over 48 hours because she's like gone maybe for 50 hours. Nyx is coming to terms that Jack is probably dead, and she goes downstairs after, you know, moments to herself, and she finds out that the pre-trans, he actually made it. I'm like, okay, we have a good moment right here. And then we see his eyes. Again, everything comes back around, people, because the pre-trans, the kid that we ran over at the very beginning of the book, that we thought would make it but didn't make it, is Jack's son. Jack! Nyx's grandfather and her grabs all their weapons as Posey takes care of the child, the pre-trans that's named Peter, and we go to the audience house to ask for assistance about the prison because, first of all, the Brotherhood doesn't know about the prison. They thought it was lost for all eternity. And they go there and we get answers about Nix's grandfather because V is there with Rage, and he's like, Rage, come meet my mentor. This is the guy that taught me how to make daggers. That explains so much, but okay. Moving on. And Nix sees Rage and she automatically connects the dots, as one would, and she says, your brother, Jack, is down there. And Rage's like, all my blooded brothers are dead. And she's like, Jack, the Jackal, do you know him? And Rage is like, that does ring a bell. And they tell them where to find the prison, and they say, we're going back with or without the Brotherhood assistance. So everyone packs gear and they head to the prison, which they go through some of the entrances, and they figure out that the little workshops and the trucks, they were for transporting drugs, and also they're there to warn the Brotherhood that we have prisoners who are probably under false, claims, false accusations. They are being transported to a different area. So that might explain why Lucan wasn't there. He might have been on this transport with all these other prisoners that are going to another prison that we now have no location on. But Nix does not find Jack. She does find Janelle's body, gets the brothers to, tell her grandfather an excuse to go somewhere else, and she does in her own way her own little goodbye ceremony to Janelle. And while everyone's getting ready to head back to the farmhouse to go see Posey and Peter, Nix decides to go back to the entrance that she went to previously, the very first entrance, which was in a church, because that's where Peter told her to go. And she goes to this crypt, and that was the entrance where she had the fight with the guard, and she finds Jack! He made it! Because he found her jacket that still had the access card, and he got out just in time. And the Rage sees him, and I'm like, he's like, we found you, my brother. I'm like, this is like a big circle loop book. Everything comes back around in the end. Now this book ends on the note, she's like, what happened to these other prisoners? Where is this prison? We are gonna have problems about these other prisons. We don't know what happened to Apex or Mayhem during the collapse. They could be alive for all we know, and Lucan can be part of this other prison system, which is not good at all. But we also end up on a note where Rage is reunited with Jack, and he has a nephew, and his nephew and daughter meet, and it's like this cute family reunion, and Nix is there with Posey and her grandfather, and it's just like this beautiful moment. But then when Jack gets to the mansion, he stops and he sees it, and he's like, Darius finished. And Rage said, yes, it was all because of you that Darius was able to finish. And Jack wants to talk to Darius so much, and then he just knows when Rage doesn't say anything, he knows that Darius is gone. But he's like, as long as his dream was able to be fulfilled, because he told me what he wanted this mansion to be for, and it's like, Darius, I just started bawling. My eyes were red, tears were coming down. As you can see, I'm getting emotional right now, but it's like 19 books or so in the making, and Darius passed away at like the end of chapter 2, book 1, and all of this was because he made this mansion to make this home for everyone. And Jack, who was basically the one who helped found this, he sees the mansion and he's like, Darius finished. And he sees the inside like, yes, this feels like a home for me, my female, my son, my family that I didn't know about, like everyone. It's like, oh my god, I'm sorry. This was basically the theme as to how I felt in this ending. That was how I felt. That was how I felt. Darius is there watching over us this whole entire freaking time. And it's like, this ending broke me. this is the end of the roller coaster. This is the ultimate loop-de-loop that is like, oh my god, Jared Ward, how dare you do this to me? And that's how we end this book, with Jack reunited with his family that he didn't know, the family that he wanted so much, his son, his female, this amazing, beautiful feeling. And we have this possible foreshadowing about another prison system going on that worries me to the bone. But I'm like, my heart. And that is the end of the spoilers. This is a thin book, people, but it might as well be a thick book of the BDB world, because these emotions were wild. Everything does take place in a time span of 48 hours, so it does explain why it's a short book, but it's just everything that happens, all of these planning, all this being cautious, all these procedures and everything, and these foreshadowing, looming, hidden things that are going on in the prison. It's a tense read. It's a very tense read. You don't know what's going on, what's happening, if we're in control of everything, or if we're just like some, just going around on the chessboard, because that's what this felt like. I mean, here's Jack. He had everything down to a T, but one little hiccup and everything is just out the window. It's a free-for-all, and we don't know what's going on. We also do find out through Peter that Nick's sister Janelle was the one that did free him from the beginning of the book. She's like figuring, like, go to this direction, you'll find safe people there. That was the farmhouse, and that's, if it wasn't for Janelle, we would never found the prison. We would never found Peter or Jack, or have alerted the brothers to what's going on in the prison. I'm like, thank you, Janelle. Your one redemption. Either way, I love these characters. I loved Nyx. I loved Jack. Kane, why did you have to die? Why? 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 Apex, Mayhem are not dead. They made it out of the tunnels. They're now like, what the hell do we do now? Let's get these colors off first, please. Unless they deactivate it, then that'd be good. Lucan, can you send us a smoke signal or something? A little SOS so we can find this new prison system. We have a lot more in store for us, because the brothers, we got our work cut out. So, man, everyone to their stations, begin planning. We have raids of our own to do, as well as a so-and-so T-Man about to cause mayhem in our wake. Not that mayhem, but you know what I mean. And again, if this is a beginning to a new series and not a continuation of the BDL series, I am for that. That's all I can say. I love this book. It was really fun. It was short. It was still a roller coaster of emotions. I cried. I screamed. Everything I felt. And I love these characters. I love this world so much. And that's as much as I can say about this book. If y'all like J.R. Ward in the BDB world, go ahead, pick this up. It's a fast read. It's still emotional, and just enjoy The Jackal by J.R. Ward. First book in the Prison Camp series, possibly 5th book in the BDL series, but I'm just going by Prison Camp series. 5 out of 5 stars. My name is Sarah, and bye.